I've already also been on air, on media also, and trying to explain that it is an unfortunate situation that two of the major giant newspapers like City Press and Sunday Times, which the public is supposed to rely on in terms of professionalism, have gone out and write a story without even a sub-minimal standard of doing a due diligence, where they just get a disgruntled former employee, former CEO of Vele, Mr. Manyache, who is under suspension for investigation, and runs to the media and tell them the story. They put it on the front page, and Vele has got its own cash flow. Vele has got its own subsidiaries. Those subsidiaries which Vele owned, they've owned it even before VBS. So Vele has got its own assets, and which VBS is one of them.
What do you make of these allegations that money was taken from the VBS account in February and March, respectively, amounting in millions paid to your account? Can you respond to that?
Well, I showed and shared the proof of payment which was happened. People need to understand that VBS was put into curatorship on the 2nd of March. Now, the money they are referring to which they said was paid to me, was on the 18th of February and the 19th of February. This was the money which was paid by me, 3 million from my FNB account to VBS, and 15 million from Nedbank to VBS to assist VBS. By that time, VBS was going through some liquidity crisis. And it's only that 18 million only helped the VBS to stay afloat for only 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, it was put under curatorship. And I have given Sunday Times and City Press, they have given them the proof of payment from my personal account, but they go and still write that that money comes from VBS to me. When it's coming from me to VBS, that money is sitting with the curator now. I can't even get hold of it.
What do you think went wrong at VBS?
Well, I think we are waiting. We are all waiting as a main shareholder of VBS, as Vele. We are also waiting patiently to find out what the curator is actually saying. Corporate governance went bust. So if there was issue of corporate governance which went under there, and there might be also if there's any element of fraud, we are waiting for that report. That's why, as Vele, we are supporting the curator, and some of the information the curator is getting and writing is coming from Vele, which we volunteer because we also want to go to the bottom of it, because this is our also assets which have gone bust. So we need to go to the bottom of it to find out exactly what happened. And we will share with the public, and that report will be made public to say exactly what happened within VBS.
But how did you as shareholders miss or did not pick it up that there was mismanagement or there was corruption at VBS?
Look, we always answer this question by saying that, there are two different scenarios you need to be aware of, the public must be aware of. A company which is like a bank is different from a normal company. And in my other 9 subsidiaries of Vele, I can walk into the door and ask the CEO to see the CEO and say, I want to see what is happening. With the bank, you can't do that. The bank is regulated in terms of the Banks Act. It's only the Reserve Bank. Whether you are a shareholder or not, you are not even allowed access to the bank. So the executives, they're only accountable to the board, and the board to the Reserve Bank. Now, that's all, whether you are a shareholder or not. So we also do not know, because we are not allowed even to go there into the bank and ask what is happening. Otherwise, that will be the breach. And remember, a bank is highly and strictly regulated. You cannot just walk in. Even if you can you put 10 billion rand into VBS tomorrow, and somebody put 10 cents, because you put 10 billion does not give you a right to walk into the bank. They will still tell you you are nothing in the bank. They are not even accountable to us. We are only, as a shareholder, you only get the information through the board and what is published in the financials and the board. You cannot go and fiddle with the bank.
Let's go back to your relationship as Vele Investments with the King.
Yes. As Vele Investment, people need to understand this is owned by vendor people. And therefore, the vendor people will always have, you will always have a normal relationship with your king. And this is not a business relationship. Now, the media wants to make it like as if there's a business relationship between Vele and the king. And there is no, it's just an arm's length normal relationship. We honor him as a king. We respect him as our king. And that's all. It's like any other company. It's not like the king has got shares or is a shareholder or he sits in Vele's board. The king has got nothing to do with Vele. He's based in Venda. Vele is based in Joburg.
But what do you make of the allegations that he receives a monthly salary from your company?
Look, I said again, these allegations are wild, and I cannot even for a second give it a credit where the same people who are making similar allegations cannot even record something straight. Where I make a deposit, they said it was a payment. So if they can go and irresponsibly and misrepresented the true fact like that, and after I've given them, what about the king? Because the king has never gone out public and officially and say, this is what they said. It's an allegation from the newspaper, which I do not believe because I don't believe what they wrote about me also.
The king in the newspaper is quoted as saying that he is going to take legal action against you specifically and Mr. Matozi.
Again, the king, we have got a very, very good relationship with the king. Myself personally, he's got my number, and the king is not afraid of me. If there's something, he would have called me and summoned me as his subject. He would not even go to the paper. I believe as my king, he will call me and he will deal with me in terms of the normal vendor cultures. But he hasn't done that, which means this is just a wild allegation from the irresponsible journalists.
Mr. Madzonga, before I let you go, did you and Mr. Chifiwa buy the king gifts as their allegations?
I am on record to say I have not bought anybody gifts.